Dragway Track Championship Series. I'm your host, Annette Melton.
And I'm Andrew Hawkins. We'll be checking out all the racing from Group 2, 3 and 4, as well as the trophy brackets. And with 10 classes of cars and bikes, there's going to be a whole lot of action.
But first up, we take a look at the sport of drag racing and see how it works, and then we check out the leaderboards.
Drag racing may seem like a simple race to the finish line, and in the case of the big budget Group 1 cars, it is. But to level the playing field in the rest of the categories, drag racing has what is called a dial-in time. Think of a dial-in time as being like a handicap in golf. If car A in the left lane has a dial-in of 10.2 seconds and car B in the right lane has a dial-in of 9.2 seconds, then car A gets a 1 second head start over car B. Once both cars have taken off, then it's simply a race to the finish. But how the dial-in time is determined is different in each category of racing. In Group 2, of which Top Comp and Super Comp are brackets, the dial-in time, or index, is based on a national record. Every car fits in a particular class with a national record, and the index is simply the national record plus half a second. For example, the Gas Motorsport Celica races in Super Compact and the national record is 6:55, so his index is 7.05 seconds. Fred Solomon in the Pro Trans Tirana races in modified production, where the national record is 8:64, making his index 9.14. If a driver goes faster than their index, they still win, but are penalised in the next round of racing where their index is lowered by half of the amount they exceeded their original index by. This is why you may see cars keeping some performance up their sleeve until the final. Group 3, which contains most of the brackets and the biggest variety of cars and bikes, works on a dial-your-own system. Basically, the driver nominates their own dial-in time to race against, but in this instance, if you break out, you lose. In the instance that both cars break out, then the car that broke out by the most loses. This system basically means that any two cars, no matter how fast, can race against each other fairly, as it becomes more about consistency and driving ability than outright power, performance or money. In Supergas, the cars race against a fixed index of 9.90, and the cars leave together with just one flash of the starting lights. This makes the racing more about accuracy than outright performance, making the cars cheaper to run than Group 1, while retaining the heads-up racing style of the professional brackets. So, as you can see, drag racing is designed so that anyone on any budget can compete fairly. So, the next thing to look at is how the competition is run. Cars are put into brackets that best suit the performance and modifications to the vehicle, which helps keep the racing close. Drivers then have a series of qualifying runs. The qualifying order then determines who faces who in each round of the eliminations. After each race, the winner progresses through to the next round of eliminations all the way to the finals. So there you have it. Drag racing isn't just about going as quick as possible. Cars need to be reliable, drivers consistent, and plenty of strategy can come into play. So what are the categories? In Group 2, you have Top Comp, which includes blown, nitrous or turbo V8 competition cars, and Super Comp, which includes Super Stock, Super Compact and any other competition eliminator cars. This season, Top Comp is a two-horse race between Craig Allison and Mike Nola, while Super Comp sees the Mazda 6 of Pack Performance in the lead, with the Gas Motorsport Celica snapping at their heels. Group 3 has 6 categories that are based on the car's elapsed time, or ETs. Supercharged Outlaws is a crowd favourite and run from 650s to 799. In the number 1 spot is Jeff Penton, who has a commanding lead. Modified, which is for hot rods, dragsters and altered body cars, run anywhere up to 1099. Top Sportsman is a strong category and is for sedans running 850s and quicker. Andrew Constantino currently leads the field. Super Sedan also has a large field of cars in the 851 to 1099 bracket and is led by Harry Plessis, but it's anyone's series with the points this close. Super Street is for cars between 11.0 and 12.99, and Modified Bike is for two-wheel machines up to 11.99. David Butler leads the competitive field. Group 4 contains Super Gas with Ricky Dudek in the number 1 spot. In the trophy brackets, David Muscat leads Street Fighter, which is for cars slower than 13 seconds. While in the Screamin' Eagles category, Darren Folks has the lead. For the drag racing stars of the future, there is Junior Dragster, which race over the 1/8 mile instead of the full quarter. You can see there is a class to suit everyone, every car and every budget. So, what are you waiting for? Head to sydneydragway.com for more info to help get you racing.
Stick around as after the break we catch up with some of the class leaders. Welcome back to the Sydney Dragway Track Championship. Now we've joined the season at round 6, so let's catch up with some of the top drivers before we head into all of the racing action.
Yeah, I'm Craig Allison, racing the Aeroflow Bantam Alpine in Top Comp. It's the first year we've raced in competition and yeah, no, we're going well. Yeah, I like the Alters. They're a lot of fun to drive. We ran modified for a few years and good chassis, locally built. It's a 357. It's an 871 standard helix. It's a newbie manifold. We run a 20 amp magneto. Everything on the car's locally built.
Hi, I'm Jeff Penton. I'm currently leading the point score in the Supercharged Outlaws bracket at Sydney Dragway, driving the Intimidator dragster with a blown 350 Chev. It's a combination I put together probably 20 years ago. Iron heads, flat tappet cam, and we reset the Australian records back in '92 at 7.64 seconds, and we're currently running around the same time. There's some pretty good competition that I'm up against.
I'm Andrew Constantino. I race a big block Ford Mustang and I am currently living the points right now. Well, we bought the car from America, 7.7, 176 miles an hour. Well, I'm going to try really hard to stay in front. Hopefully the car stays consistent.
Hi, I'm Dave Butler. I'm currently leading the point score at the Track Championships in the modified bike class on the size Harley Davidson's Destroyer. I was like that. The class is really fun. It's very competitive, and as you can see, the points is pretty close in the series. So you've got to race hard every race, and it's a lot of fun. The quickest I've been is a 9.5 on this bike. It's straight from Harley Davidson as it comes. It's a Screamin' Eagle Harley. You buy it straight from the factory, so it hasn't been modified in any way. It's how you see it, how it comes. It comes with a wheelie bar, the flat tyre, launch control, the whole lot. It's ready to race.
Hi, I'm Harry Plessis, and I drive this XW Falcon GT and currently leading the State Championship Point Series. It's a 351 Boss 4V. It's got cast iron factory heads on it. It is naturally aspirated on a single 4-barrel. We've done 2 finals, 2 off the bat finals, and car's been very consistent.
Hi, I'm Peter Brown. I drive a Dragster modified and I'm currently leading the track point score. 12 months old, it's an ex-American chassis we've done a fair bit of work to, had an engine built by BK Race Engines, and it's the first season out for it. It's a 540 cube, big block Chev, single 4-barrel carburettor and a 2-speed power glide. It's running quickest of 7.85 seconds, 172 mile an hour.
Hi, I'm George Rahayam. I'm the driver of the Pack Performance Mazda 6. You know, we come out, we have fun, it's not far from home, so we're here every meeting and try and do our best and try and do some new modifications to the car every time we come out and just keep racing, enjoying ourselves.
I'm Ricky Dudek and I drive the Pro Comp Super Gas BA Falcon and Super Gas. I'm currently leading the championship. It's a 358 cube Cleveland, single 4-barrel carburettor, C4 transmission 3-speed. Yeah, we'll try to do as best as we can. Try to get out there and run consistent as we can as well.
Qualifying saw plenty of quick times at round 6 of the Sydney Dragway Track Championship Series. Joe Signorelli ran the quickest time of the entire event with a 6:50 at 214 miles per hour. But with his index set at a 7:05, he only qualified in 3rd place in Supercomp. In Top Sportsman, Johnny Briskus was a full second quicker than his nearest competitor and ran the fastest speed of the event with 218 miles per hour in his 86 Chevy Camaro. He qualified first but didn't make it to the eliminations. In Modified, less than half a second separated the top 5 qualifiers, making it a very competitive field. The Super Sedan field was strong with 23 cars qualifying. Fords, Holdens and Chevys were out in force, but some spice was added with a lone Nissan, Valiant and a Datsun 260Z, which took out the top qualifying spot with an 870 at 158 miles per hour. The modified bike category was also strong with 16 entries and a range of Japanese bikes going up against an array of Harleys. Robert Simmons' Hayabusa took the top spot with a 9 flat at 154 miles per hour. Plenty of young ones came out to play in the junior dragster class with 17 entries.
After the break, we'll have more racing action as we head into the finals. Welcome back to the Sydney Dragway Track Championship Series. Now let's head to the finals and find out who takes home all the glory and see how it affects the championship standings.
In Street Fighter, the finals came down to David Muscat in the Falcon and Tabitha Saunders in the Chevy Ute. Both drivers broke out, but David by less, giving him the win and keeping his lead in the championship. In the Scream and Eagles class, the number 1 qualifier was knocked out in the 2nd round along with the championship leader, Darren Folks. So, the finals came down to Stephen Stanley and Evan Murray. Although Evan broke out, his 2nd place was enough to move him into the championship lead. In junior dragsters, after 5 rounds of eliminations, the finals was an all-girl affair between Holly Mills and Adriana McCaskill. Adriana's win moved her from 10th to 6th in the championship. The massive Super Street field saw plenty of tough competition. The number 1 qualifier was knocked out in the 2nd round, but number 2 qualifier Joe Zammit in the VL Commodore was super consistent and made it all the way to the finals, where he was gifted with a red light from his competitor. His win also moved him up from 4th to 1st in the championship, but it's still anyone's game with 1 round left to go. The racing in super sedans was intense. 6 red lights in the 1st round meant plenty of racers were on edge and trying to get the jump. Number 1 qualifier Paul Foley was beaten on reaction time to be knocked out in the 2nd round, and the red lights and upsets continued all the way to the finals, where there was another red light. Number 2 qualifier Chris took the win, but Harry's second place was enough to keep him in the lead of the championship. In Top Sportsman, championship leader Andrew in the Ford Mustang went up against Steve Fowler in the finals. Andrew's win cemented his lead even further. In modified bike, the Japanese superbikes and the big bikes battled through the eliminations all the way to the final between number 1 qualifier Robert Simmons in the Hayabusa and championship leader David Butler in the HD Destroyer. Jumped the gun, red lighting and handing the win to David, helping him keep his championship lead, but it did move Robert up into second. Only 3 cars contested the Supercharged Outlaws, meaning top qualifier Norm McCormack got a bye run, while Jeff Penton and Troy battled it out. Jeff continued his consistency, taking the win and carried that through to the finals against Norm, but he suffered some mechanical problems after the burnout, making it a solo final for Jeff. His win pushed his championship lead out even further. With the championship leader and number 1 qualifier of modified out before elimination started, it opened the category right up. Jenny Petrie and Brendan Luke used it to their advantage, making it to the finals. Jenny took the win, but Brendan moved into the lead of the championship. Supergas is always tough competition, and round 6 was no exception. Number 1 qualifier Michael Stavala was knocked out in the first round after breaking out, and championship leader Ricky Dudek was out in the second after red lighting. John Somaraz seized the opportunity and made the finals against Roy Romeo. But it didn't affect Ricky Dudek's lead in the championship. Moving into Group 2, the absence of pack performance in Supercomp opened the door for Joe Signorelli, who, although qualifying well, was having bad luck in the eliminations. He was handed a gift when his opponent crossed the centre line in the first round and had a bye run in the second, sending him into the finals, but the car dramas continued. Fred's win moved him up into second, while Joe moved into the lead of the championship. In Top Comp, a red light and a wild ride from Jeff Gradden saw Mike Nola take the win in the first round. Meanwhile, Craig Allison was having a perfect weekend, qualifying first, then a bye run and on to the finals for the win. This enabled him to keep his championship lead, but like with most categories, the series ain't over yet. For more results, event information, and to find out how you can go drag racing, head to the website sydneydragway.com. Stay tuned for the finals.